Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I am doing another ranking related to Thunderbolts, and today I am ranking all the Avengers movies. This will be a little bit of spoilers in regards to Thunderbolts. So today, let's get into it. Coming in at number 5, we have the first Avengers. Now, I do not hate the first Avengers at all. I think all the Avengers movies are from good to great, or amazing. So, the first Avengers, it's not a bad movie, and they've been setting it up for ages. It's what made the MCU the MCU, where, we got a lot of superhero movies back then, so, when they put out things like Iron Man stuff and Incredible Hulk and all that, it was cool, but we got a lot of superhero movies back then anyway. So, because we already had the Christopher Nolan in the middle of his Dark Knight trilogy, we had some incredible X-Men movies, we had some really fun but flawed Fantastic Four movies. So we've had fun to okay to great superhero movies. Even the Spider-Man movies were out then. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man had ended before Iron Man came out, and when they built to Avengers, we were like, wow, they actually did it. They brought together all of our favourite movies, our favourite characters from our favourite films, and put them all together into one and made this awesome team up. And it's one of those things too where you watch it and it still holds up and it's really, really good, but again, you also kind of look at it and you're like, I can also see a bit of the... I don't necessarily want to say it's dated, because it's not dated. I can see I guess, because you know how the where the MCU went in terms of Avengers movies and how they went bigger, more grander, and things like that, you can kind of go you can kind of watch the first Avengers and go this is still a really, really great movie, but they got better with each installment for me. They went from an 8 out of 10 to better. So I really, really like the first Avengers. I think the first Avengers are really, really good. I just think it's one of those things where you watch the first Avengers and you're like, this is really, really good, but also it is a bit strange to watch it. Because you have 3 other Avengers movies that, in my opinion, do a fantastic job at doing all that. At doing all the pushing the universe forward and stuff like that. So that's why the Avengers to me comes in at number 5. Number 4, we have the New Avengers. Yes, the new installment to the MCU, Thunderbolts / New Avengers, which to classify it, we need to call it the New Avengers. This movie really surprised me. And I think it's one of those movies that, I watched it and I was laughing at every bit with Red Guardian, and Bob, the whole camaraderie between them. And the thing is too, is the action is unbelievable in this movie. And also you watch the movie and you're like, wow, they did a really good job at basically doing what they did with the first Avengers, where they had these individual projects. Yeah, it took a little while they got there, but they still had the individual projects and they paid it off. With Yelena and Red Guardian obviously coming from Black Widow, and then you had Elena in Hawkeye, you had Bucky in Falcon Winter Soldier, and Captain America Brave New World and that sort of stuff. And you had Ghost from the Infinity Saga with Ant-Man the Wasp, you had Taskmaster from Black Widow, you had White Russell also from Falcon Winter Soldier, you had, and then you had your new character in Sentry. So I think that they did a really, really good job at pushing all that forward, and I think that was amazing. I think that was so good, and the way that it all works with the whole, how do I put it, with all the movies intertwined into this one movie, they worked it really, really well, and I really like the way that, and I love how this movie's more darker than your typical MCU movie. This movie has the whole thing of very dark problems when it comes to, like, there's child abuse in this movie. There's a lot of like depression type stuff. Like when you have Florence Pugh jumping off the second tallest building in the world, like, and the fact that she even did that is like Tom Cruise level stuff. So it's kind of surprising that she was actually willing to do that, and you're actually like, wow, like, it's crazy that how they did that, and I just love how they decide to bring back to both like practical effects and bring back all these different characters from these franchises. And this made me very happy that they picked Jake Schreier to direct the MCU X-Men. But also, I think it's also one of those things where it's like, the only thing that has me a little concerned about the X-Men is that these characters in the New Avengers were pre-established characters, which in the X-Men, I mean, we know what the X-Men are. We know them from X-Men 97, the original Fox movies and stuff like that. But it's also one of those things where it's like, you watch it and you're like, we don't know who the MCU X-Men are. Like, what are you going to do in terms of the general public? Like, you need to have standalone movies for them and then lead to an X-Men movie. That's what made the MCU so great in the first place, is that you had the solo movies and then you build up to that team up, which I really, really like. So that's definitely one of those things where, like, the New Avengers definitely surprised me, and I really, really like how the New Avengers was just such a good movie for this year. Number 3, this is going to be a bit of a hot take, but Avengers Infinity War. I love Infinity War. It's so good. I think it's one of those movies that I remember where I was when I watched this movie. I remember it was in 2018. My cousin was over, or maybe both of them were, but I definitely saw it with one of my cousins. And she was a big Spider-Man fan at the time, so we were like, okay, let's go see it. Spider-Man's going to play a huge role in this movie after our tease in Homecoming. So we went to see it. The only problem I had with that experience was that the 3D bloody sucks. It like really hurt my eyes, and it was really hard to focus because my eyes were so sore from the 3D. That's when I kind of was like, okay, yeah, nah, 3D movies are terrible experiences now. But yeah, no, I really think that was really, really good. And I love how it went from the first Avengers, from Phase 2 up to almost the end of Phase 3, to have Infinity War, where you have all of the characters from all the different franchises, whether if it's Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers, Spider-Man, and like all these different franchises. And it's crazy to me because you watch it and you're like, that's very common nowadays, but back then, especially like pulling together things like the Guardians and stuff, that blew us away. That was like, oh my god, really? They really did that? Like, that was crazy. So it's one of those things where it's like you watch it and you're like, oh my god, they actually did it. And I love how this was basically a part 1 of a part 2. But they basically got rid of the part 2. And even though I do kind of wish that they could have done it in a way where they could chop the beginning of Infinity War and stuck that intro of Infinity War, where basically from the beginning of that movie where Hawkeye's family gets dusted to the end of the bit where Thor walks away from cutting off Thor's head. I'm sorry, not Thor's head, Thanos' head. Even though I do feel like that could have been the end of Infinity War, because then you get more of that feeling of like, oh my god, what are we going to do now? Like, the stones are destroyed. But I really like the way that they ended it. I think it was really ballsy for the MCU to do that at the time. And I love how they did. I love Infinity War. I think it's so good. And the fact that Doomsday is coming out next year and we're going to have yet another Avengers movie that we haven't had one since Endgame is crazy to me. Number 2, of course, we have Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, this movie is a really underrated one because I love Age of Ultron. I think it's so good. I love James Spader as Ultron. I really like seeing, like, because the thing is about the first Avengers and even Infinity War and even Endgame, you have the bits of the Avengers coming together for one last cause type of thing. Which this one, the Avengers have already been gone on different missions together. They're well established. You open with a fight scene. It's one of those things where it's like you watch it and you're like, this is what we wanted from an Avengers movie. Like, is having all the different heroes team up and fight off against all these, like, taking on Hydra in the opening, and then eventually having the dream sequences of all of the heroes dead and that sort of stuff. And it's crazy, man. It's like, you look at that and you're like, oh my god, that is bonkers. Like, I love how they did that. I think it's amazing. So, it's one of those things where I'm just like, what did they do? This is unbelievable. Like, and it's such an underrated movie too. Like, this is one of those movies that I'm like, well, why do people not like it as much? Is it just because they don't think they don't think that they did well with Ultron? Like, I think James Spader is amazing as Ultron, and I really love him in this movie as Ultron. And the fact that he's coming back for Vision Quest is so good, and I love how they're going to do that. So, yeah, I think Age of Ultron really is a good movie, and it's kind of crazy to me that how, like, all the Avengers movies has been hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. I love Age of Ultron. I think it's such an underrated movie, and it's one of the most underrated comic book movies ever. But coming in at number 1, we have Avengers Endgame. Now, this one is almost like No Way Home, because both this and No Way Home are my 1 and 2 in terms of MCU movies, and both are my top 2 favorite movies of all time because of both. Because I think what should make you kind of realize that it's your favorite movie of all time is because, like, whether if it's a good movie, and also, to me, you should remember where you were when you first saw that movie. And I think that that's what I think that that's what No Way Home and Endgame are to me. Where Endgame, I remember it was on I think it was on my brother's birthday? 24th of April? I know it was his birthday month, but it was the 24th of April. Me and my friends at the time went to go see it. I stayed a night previously at another friend's house that went to the same school as the other friends I went with. But I think I wanted to see the movie with him as well, so we were like, I'll wait off a day and we'll see it the next day. It was one of the few movies that I was like, okay, I'm very excited for this movie. This is my most anticipated movie of the year. Is it going to be good? And then we get there, and there's like dozens of people, because we went to the second showing. So there were like dozens of people, and like I saw one of my friends from dance there, and I was talking to him, going like, look, dude, just tell me, did you like it? Did you not like it? But don't spoil anything. And I was like, no, dude, I really liked it. So I was like, okay, righto. That makes me a little bit better. And I legit we went into the theatre, and the theatre was not as packed as No Way Home. You would think it is because it's Endgame, but again, I mean, it was pretty packed for the time, but again, they did just have an earlier showing of it, so I think, for the most part, these people that were going into our showing were the people that weren't able to see it in that first showing. So we sit down, and I was blown away by Endgame. I was like, okay, I was feeling every emotion, every gut punch that they would throw at you. As soon as Rocket would roll the gauntlet over, and he's like, oh no. Like, I felt that, and I was like, oh god, really? Like, no one's going to be able to save the whole half a universe, and then you realise that Thanos used it again, you're like, really? Oh my god! And then it's like, I really hate this guy. And then you have that whole like, somewhat comedic but somewhat paying off from the last one where Thor cuts off Thanos' head and he's like, I went for the head. And you're like, yes! But that still doesn't help with the fact that you can't save half the universe. And then I remember, as soon as that 5 years later text came up on screen, I was like, oh crap. It was crazy to me because the story of dealing with the grief, of the loss of everyone, you're like, oh my god. Like, this is one of the few movies that I'm like, I totally understand why everyone's grieving right now, because this is crazy. And it's one of those things where it's like, I watch it and you're just like, oh my god, really? Like, why is it doing this to me? Why? And it's crazy. So like, and the more times I watch it, the more I love Endgame. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes you watch it by yourself and you're like, oh, I didn't really get the same. But when you watch it, even with another person there beside you, and they're kind of getting and you're kind of watching their reaction if they haven't seen it before, and you're like, yes, this is the magic that it is. Like, I love sharing Endgame with other people, and I remember Endgame was a big deal. That even like people that I thought that didn't like Marvel movies went to go see it. Like, I remember a bunch of girls I went to school with saw it, and it was like, oh, you guys like this stuff too, you're just too afraid to admit it. And also, it was a big deal too because I used to have this wallpaper that I'm using right now for the TV as my wallpaper on my laptop, my school laptop. So my maths teacher at the time would come over and go like, oh, you like the Marvel movies? I'm like, hell yeah, it's my favourite franchise. Like, who doesn't? And she's like, oh, what's your favourite one? And I was like, Avengers Endgame. Because, like, duh, have it as my wallpaper, come on now. And she's like, and it kind of took a while for her to process what one it was, because she was kind of going like, okay, what one is he talking about? And she's going like, oh, the recent one where Iron Man dies. And I'm like, yes. And I was like, oh, but not for the reason that Iron Man's died. Not that reason is not the reason I like it. I mean, it's great in terms of closing out Iron Man's story, but that's not the only reason why I like that movie. Because I didn't want to sound savage, because I actually really, really like Iron Man. And I was like, but remember all the happy things that they did in that movie. Like, they brought back all the people that were snapped away. They brought back, they sent off Steve to go live with Peggy, like stuff like that. Like, it's so good, and I love the fact that Endgame was one of the movies that, like, you watch it and you're like, it closed a chapter in the MCU that I'm curious to know how they're going to get that back again with Doomsday. And I'm super excited for Doomsday, like, because it feels like now, I mean, just on a little bit of Doomsday changes, but it feels like what they're doing now with the Multiverse Saga is what I wish that MCU could have been with the nobody legal rights to Spider-Man and X-Men and Fantastic Four, where it's like, except for recasting the MCU Fantastic Four, you bring back Jessica Alba, you bring back Ian Gruffin, you bring back Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, you bring back the Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Halle Berry, Famke Janssen, James Marsden, X-Men. You bring back, like, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. You bring back all these heroes, but it sounds like that's what they're going to do in Doomsday and Secret Wars. So I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited. So, yes, so guys, that is my ranking of the Avengers movies. Please, guys, hit the like button down below if you haven't already. Subscribe. Also, a little bell icon to get notified future videos I make. I am going to continue doing some rankings, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.